temperature in control. Man, that looks great.
Jets! Oh my God, it's so beautiful. 78 degrees, Jets football, and we're winning. That's what's going on today. That's why everybody's so psyched. This isn't no happenstance. This is a guarantee, just like Joe Namath said. See that?
There are few things in life you cannot put a price on. Loyalty, tradition, fierce passion. Today is a gigantic family reunion because finally, they're back.
Violent vertical ledge setter.
He's gonna beat you today. I see some ass on the hips. Get that mindset to put your shoulder on somebody. Dig, drop. You're finished. Hey, first down. He's a weird kid. Worse than that, sir.
Dun dun. Isn't that epic? I love that thing, man. It's like, I'm a new editor, right? So I don't know what I'm doing. I'm real proud of that. Like, dun dun. I like that. It's epic. So what's up? Good morning. Good afternoon. Happy day. It is Saturday, I think, no matter how we slice it, right? Even the New Zealand, Australian guys, it's still Saturday for them too, I think. So happy Saturday, everybody. You got Martin Shilton coming in right from the southern side of France, usually Germany. He gets around that fella. Phil Adams from the UK is here. Good morning, gentlemen. It's good to see you. But first, before we get going, I'd like to bring on our esteemed co-host, the vice principal of the educational system of California. Let's say hello and good morning to Jeremey Cravat. Oh, there it is. Look at that thing. Where's Jeremey? Oh, there he is.
Let me cover up the other team.
There it is, right. Look at that banner. It's beautiful. Look at that thing. Now, I have mine as well. I just got mine. Last night, I picked it up from the address that I get my mail. I went last night and picked it up. I got it. I could not be more grateful. Jeremey, how grateful are you? This is sent directly from Mr. Phil Adams from the UK, a previous guest on this very show. Mr. Phil Adams, we'd like to say thank you. What do you think of that banner, man?
Yeah, me and Frankie both, you've had this before, this experience. Like, this was our first time having somebody, just because of this YouTube's experience, doing something like this for us. And it felt great. I'm glad it was Phil, because I feel like Phil is a real brother. He's like my brother in England, that I have this real family there. And it was just so touching. It was like my wife was even touched by it. Like, she just couldn't believe it. She said, like, somebody sent you this from England? Like, oh my God. And I didn't reach out to Phil yet. I wanted to do it on like here. I can't even tell you how much I appreciate it. And we really are just family, man, to do that for us, to actually go through not just getting it, but the shipping process, to me, is the hardest part. Like, sending something to him, like, that means you physically in his life went out, not only thought of us and bought it, but went and had it shipped to us. And it's just such an amazing feeling to know where this came from. And I'm like going to cherish it forever.
Yeah, I completely agree, man. It's the most amazing thing. Now, I've received a couple of packages and some fan art and stuff like that. And I'm telling you, it's the most amazing thing for guys on our end, because, like, look, we're just guys talking, and for somebody to appreciate that and send it. And Phil has already sent me a shirt that I wear often. I mean, it's part of my rotation, man. I mean, I don't just wear it out to go pull weeds or anything. But I love the shirt. It's a beautiful shirt. I love the banner. As a matter of fact, I meant to grab the pins. So I'm going to go grab the pins. I want to show you guys that as well. It's just in the next room. Let me get that. But Phil, thank you, man. You are the best. And honestly, there's not enough words to express how it feels to get that package. You wrote a nice little note and everything, and I don't know, man. I'm grateful. So hold on. I want to show you the pins.
Okay. Hey, Eric Craig, I don't know if you ever get my messages, but you asked me about that website for the New York bagels, and it's bkbagel.com, where I have one defrosting right now. I'm going to bake it. It's subpar baked, so it's like having a real New York bagel. bkbagel.com, brother. And just wanted to make sure you had that information.
bkbagel.com. So here are the pins. I'm going to try to just put it next to the camera. He sent one of these for each of my children. There it is. Look at that thing.
Wow. That's beautiful. That's
official
so nice.
licensed cheerleader. I love it. That's our good buddy Phil Adams. And I'll let Phil share. He's got an interesting story, but I don't know if he wants to share that with everybody. But if he does one day, we'll bring him on. And you can share that story. I was, like I said, that story just confirmed the feelings I have of liking you, Phil, are just ironclad now. I'm like, oh yeah, that's my dude right there. That's exactly how I would have been. It's funny. He said, your wife would have said, hey, what would GreenBean think? GreenBean would have been having to been calmed down. You know what I mean? I would have probably been the worst one in there. So anyway, so awesome. I love it. And thank you, Phil. I mean that seriously and sincerely. So how you doing today, Jeremy? What else? I mean, look, that's a good way to start it. Super duper cool.
Yeah. I'm good. I'm feeling good. It's good to start an hour later.
I bet.
I feel like it's less of the alarm waking me up and kind of more natural. So that's a good thing. No, I'm feeling good. I'm feeling excited about the game tomorrow. I'm not making any crazy predictions or anything like that, but I miss football. The bye week, like we were saying it earlier, it's like we said it on Thursday night. It seems like forever since we played. Yeah. So I'm excited to have the possibility of getting some revenge. And really, like, as much as I know it's going to be a long haul and it's going to be really hard, I would just love to beat them. I would just love to beat them in New England. That would be so amazing.
Yeah, it really would. And I think, look, New England is still a good team. Like, they're 1-4. They're 0-4 at home this year, which is crazy, which shows you how the NFL kind of helped their start. They gave them 4 home games out of the first 5 games, and 5 out of the first 6, which is just crazy. It's like trying to help them get a good start. They have not won at home this year, if I remember correctly. And so going into Foxboro, where we haven't won since 2010, the regular season since 2008, to go in there after the 4-interception game week 2 and try to beat them when they're having a losing streak at home, they're going to be ravenous. You know what I mean? They're going to be foaming at the mouth. So it's a tough road. It's a tough ask. At the same time, we did have 2 weeks to prepare. Corey Davis gave that little nod and wink, like, we're ready. We know what we got to do to beat these guys. But the thing is that actually makes me nervous, not confident, because Bill Belichick is one of those guys, like, yeah, he wants you to think something, and then he's going to do something completely different, which was the issue with Atlanta per our coaches. They said, hey, we thought they were going to do this, and they did something different. So it's like, I don't like to hear that. That's not what I want to hear. But speaking of coaching, I wanted to play something for you guys this morning or this afternoon. I think over where Phil and Martin are, they're like getting ready for the pubs tonight, or the club, Southern France. I don't know, Martin. I don't know if you're going to go down there near the Mediterranean club scene and get into all that. But I wanted to play you this clip from Robert Saleh talking about the offense and talking about, like, a lot of times we've been talking each week about a lot of fans think Joe Douglas kind of missed an opportunity because he didn't bring in a vet offensive mind. We have first-time head coach, first-time offensive coordinator, first-time quarterback coach, first-time defensive coordinator, first-time quarterback, like, so all that stuff. And they're kind of saying, like, we need a mind in here. Now, we know we had Greg Knapp, who passed away, which was clearly a difficult hurdle, okay? But he talks a little bit about Matt Kavanaugh, which I've been trying to bring people up to speed on. But let's hear Robert Saleh and see what he says. I hope I got the right one up here. Let me see. I think I still left the Denzel Mims one up. Hold on. Bear with me. So yeah, it's just really interesting. Here we go. Okay. Hopefully this is the right one. All right, guys, check it out. This is Robert Saleh speaking about Matt Cavanaugh.
Cavanaugh, he's been fantastic. He's been everything that we wanted. You know, like God rest his soul with Napper. The idea with Napper, former coordinator, quarterback coach, kind of can be that old soul for the quarterback and for Mike, who's also a first-time play caller. So, you know, we took time in thinking about how we wanted to fill that role, and it was not easy, obviously. And Cavanaugh was a name that continually popped up from a lot of people around the league who I trust dearly, and he's very similar in that role. You know, he's a former coordinator, old soul, has a lot of experience with quarterback play, played the position. So just to be that presence in the room. So he's been awesome. He's been everything that we wanted, and couldn't be happier to have him.
Whoops. So, Jeremy, what is the first thing that you hear there? I mean, you know, again, we've talked about this ad nauseum. Clearly, LaFleur is having some difficulty kind of developing the game plan. He does make some neat adjustments throughout the game, and we see some of that. But what are you hearing there? What do you think's going on, and how do you take what Robert Saleh just said there?
Well, I take it as the opportunity, like, for you, GreenBean, to be able to say, not that you're this type of person, but to look at everybody, and I'll say it for you. GreenBean told you so. It's what you've been saying for since it happened. Like you recognized right away, aside from the tragedy of the human being and the family, you also said it was awful for the team, and that his role, like, you know, people don't think it's just the head coach or the defensive coordinator, and they don't understand that everybody on the coaching staff is important. And Knapp had a very, very important role. He was going to be that veteran senior coach, that guy that overlooks everything, and he was going to have a much bigger, more important role than a lot of people understood. And you were right. You said it, and now you're watching a head coach acknowledge it. What a great loss it was.
Yeah, I think it's so cool to hear the head coach kind of talk about it, you know? Like, I think one of the things that we have to allow this year, and it's frustrating, man. And I talk to more Jets fans now than even in my past when I was on Jets message boards, and I talked to hundreds of Jets fans. But now it's like a lot of people reach out to me. I have Instagram, Twitter, Jetnation, YouTube, all that sort of stuff. And a lot of the concerns are the offense and the offensive play calling. And that's my concern too. It's alarming. It's like, wow, man, we can't seem to get our heads screwed on until the third quarter of the game. But it's one of those things where if you just look at it, now it's like Big Arms is in there saying excuses, and look, to a degree, look, excuses are excuses, but a lot of times excuses are also reasons. Like when you're looking for something to try to understand why things are a certain way. It's like, well, why is that dam leaking? They put all this money. Well, there's a crack in the excuses. It's like, no, well, there's a crack. We have to acknowledge the crack. We have to fix the crack. So Matt Cavanaugh was brought on way at the end of training camp, completely different offensive mind, been around a long time, but now they have to kind of congeal. They have to mesh. And I think as the season goes on, very similarly to what we're seeing with the offensive line, everybody wanted to chop their heads off the first 2 weeks of the year. And now we're seeing they're settling. They're not where we want them to be, but they're settling. They're starting to be able to give Zach more time, significantly less sacks. Now, the run game, they're still not that great with yet, but they're getting it. And like allowing these coaches to kind of settle in, get to know each other, get to know the staff, the players. Like they don't even really know everybody yet. They've been together a very, very short time. And it's important to allow that. And I thought hearing Robert Saleh talk about Matt Cavanaugh, like trying to explain to everybody, like, look, we have him. We have the guy. You just got to give us time. We don't even know each other. Like, look what Robert Saleh said there. He said, Cavanaugh came highly recommended by people I trust. Not like, oh, I called my old buddy Matt Cavanaugh. They don't know each other. So they had to bring him in and kind of get going and all that sort of stuff. So the point being, going into New England with a 2-week stretch to kind of settle in, they had 5 weeks to look at. Here's what we did well. Here's what we didn't do. Here's who's ready to play, all that sort of stuff. Now we got 2 weeks now that we know each other, kind of get going and put together a game plan to go in there and beat the shit out of the Patriots. What do you think about that? You think this is beneficial to us? You think the Matt Kavanaugh thing is we've had enough time, we should start seeing some benefit, or where do you land with that?
Yeah, I agree. I mean, look, he came in very late, so to expect him to come in and right away fill Knapp's shoes and what Knapp was supposed to be is ridiculous. I mean, he walked in and had to, catch up, and we also don't know how much benefit he's done. We could have been a lot worse. Maybe he's already been helpful. We don't know. But the whole thing that drives me crazy is it's been 5 games. Yeah. And that's what really drives me nuts is in 5 games, people know if LaFleur's a good offensive coordinator. The whole point of Knapp and the whole point of it was, yes, we have a rookie offensive coordinator. That's you could look back on careers like Andy Reid. I mean, it doesn't, not every great coordinator, every great coach starts off on fire with the greatest record and doing amazing things. I mean, look at Belichick's Cheetah check or whatever you want to call him. But if you look at him, you look at his first run in Cleveland, right? It didn't go so well. Right.
That's right.
It's not like he's this magical coach. How about giving it some time? Like, let this be the year that it's supposed to be. And it's not only the players who are developing, let LaFleur develop, let him learn his lessons and take his medicine. We could go back and look at that. Like a lot of times you don't see how many people take the time to go to look at great coaches and go back earlier in their coaching careers and see how they did in their first 5 games.
Yeah.
So it's just such impatience. It's like we tore the team down. We rebuilt the team. We got a new coaching staff. We got a rookie quarterback. We got rookies playing all over the place. We had key injuries. Man, just give them some time and let them do this thing. We're in year 1 of a rebuild.
Yeah, and I think it would be helpful if we could at least score a first quarter touchdown. I mean, because we look really bad. So I do understand, but you're so right, man. It's we need to allow this. Just the offensive line is a great example. Like I said, the first 2, even 3 weeks, people were literally ready to. I mean, AVT was a bust. Moses is old and done. Obviously, McGovern and Fant suck. We need to replace them. But we need to this was their first time playing together as a unit, first time in this system. So it can be aggravating because we've been waiting for 10 friggin' years, even more, really. But since the last time we were even relevant, it's been 10 years. And this is our 3rd coaching staff since. So really 4 if you include Rex. It's since 2010, we're on our 4th new regime, and I get it. It's now I just want something now, and I get it, but you're nailing it, man. I want to take a second and say hello to some friends who popped in. Joe the Comic is here. What's up, Joe Conti? Very, very excellent, top tier comedian from the North New Jersey area. Joe and I flew to LA and made some adult film comedy adult films together back in the day. Yes, we did, back in 2004. Joe's an old buddy of mine. We got Matt Simon in the house. Matt wrote me on Facebook this morning, freaking out because they cut Yeboah. He was he was like, I can't take it, Bean. What the fuck? And then we found out that no, we just pushed him back to the practice squad. So he's like, hey, sorry about that. Sorry about that. That was how I woke up today, Matt. I'm like, what? I popped out of bed. I'm I was all anxious and pissed, but no sweat, buddy. We also have Ali from Official Loyal New York Jets Fans is here. What's up, Ali? It's good to see you this morning, my friend. Thanks for popping in. Harry is here. We also got Sun Moon Rise, he's in Germany today.
Yeah.
Sun Moon Rise is around a lot. John Sheehan is here, and so many others. Tom Bon Jovi, Louis Soto, and a lot of other guys. Kevin Randall, John Amarell is here. Good morning, friend. Salty Nuts Magoo is here. That's just evolving, isn't it, John? It started with John Salty, then Salty Nuts Magoo. I don't know what's happening. Bruce White is here. So Big Arms had a question up top here. And I didn't want to just allow it to slip through. And he really hits on a couple key points that I'd like to talk about. He says, I'm trying to be so positive about tomorrow's game, but every time I do, I get let down. What are your feelings about how that we're going to do tomorrow against the Patriots at Foxboro? And the first thing I'll say is it's really an interesting little syndrome. Trying to be positive invariably brings with it higher levels of pain, it seems, right? Like when you're hopeful and then get let down, it's like a farther fall. You break your leg instead of just, scraping your elbow when you walk in and go, look, we're not going to do too well. I'm just looking for a couple touchdowns or something. But I think it is important to remain positive. It doesn't mean we have to get all the way to the point where we're devastated when they lose, like way up here. At the same time, I feel pretty good about tomorrow. Again, we've had 2 weeks. The Patriots are kind of on their heels right now. I still think they're a better coach team. They're a better team in many respects. But I think we also have a team. In the last game that we had with them, it wasn't a slaughter like it seemed. Number one, they had some real help with the refs. Number two, real help, like with that turnover in the first quarter, all that kind of shit. Obviously, Zach throwing 4 picks, drop passes, all that kind of stuff. So I think we have a good shot. How do you take it? Like, what do you foresee tomorrow, Jeremy? How are you looking at this game?
Yeah, look, I'm definitely not going into the game confident. I've said that the last 2 days. I'm not confident at all. Because look, we've been already our past trauma. You and me, there's been lots of trauma since 1982. So it's like, and every time you want to trust them, we come into every year all excited and we feel that trauma. Things go wrong, everything falls apart on us. But I'm a fan of. There was a baseball player I was a big fan of, and his name was Tug McGraw. And Tug McGraw said he's famous for coining the term "you gotta believe." And I think that if you're a fan of a team, you don't have to be cocky or confident and say we're definitely going to win, but you're allowed to say, I believe that we can, right? You got to keep the belief that you can. Otherwise, what's the point? What's the point of turning on the TV on Sunday? Why do we do it? Because somewhere down in deep inside of us is hope and this belief that it can click and we can play that great game. It happened against Tennessee. A lot of people were saying there's no way we can beat them and there's no way we can play against them. So I'm just going to say you got to believe, and I'm going to go in every week believing that on any given week, any given Sunday, we can go in there and we can get a win.
I really like that. Like if we're not going to at least believe it on any respect, like again, to be let down is one thing. High expectations is one thing. But if you're not going to at least go in there and like have a little hope and go, come on, like why turn it on in the first place just to be miserable, So I think that's where we got to find it. Not so easy after all the years. Like you said, a lot of trauma since 1982. I happen to know Big Arms has been a fan a while too. So he's just like, hey man, we're wearing down over here. My skin is thin these days, and that's what kind of dovetails nicely with why we have such high expectations for these coaches and the quarterback. Like we use a number 2 pick. We let Sam Darnold go and Zach Wilson can't even hit a screen. Like what the F is happening? So I do understand it. So Ali, right? Yeah, man. What's up, buddy? And Ali jumps in and says, we are winning this week. What do you think of that? So, hey, that's what I like to see. I believe we're going to win too. I honestly do. Now, again, like Big Arms is saying, I'm not necessarily to the point where, like, if we lose, I'm going to be surprised. I'm really not. At the same time, I think we're going to go in there and win. And you want to know why? And then I want to get to a few more comments. But you know what I think is going to happen? I think we're about to see the Denzel Mims game. That's what I think is going to happen. Zach Wilson likes him. Zach Wilson can find him because he's the biggest damn target he has out there on the field. He's also probably the widest catch radius. Like, even though Corey Davis is essentially the same size, Denzel Mims has a wider radius, longer arms, higher vertical, all those types of things. I think Denzel Mims and Zach Wilson are going to be a thing. And I'm looking for 7 catches, 112 yards, and a touchdown this week from Denzel Mims. And I think that's the reason we're going to win. But that is what it is. But that's how I see it. So Matt Simon checks in. He says, this isn't going to be any easier than last time, but I believe we'll play much better. And who knows? Anything is possible. And that's a good way to say it, right?
Yeah.
I think it's going to be a better game. Like, look, what's the chances we go in there and throw 4 picks and the refs take away a fumble? They blow the whistle before the guy's even on. That's the stupidest thing I've ever seen.
To start the game.
To start the game. I hate inadvertent whistles, man. It really bothers me. But so that's where I am too. Talking, we got some chiming in on the Kavanaugh. Matt Simon says, I'm not really a big fan of Matt Kavanaugh. And that probably comes from the Sanchez days. Although it could be argued that Matt Kavanaugh was masterful with Sanchez because he was not He was not all that good of a quarterback. And don't forget, him and Rex Ryan had to protect the team from Sanchez. You remember like the color coding, dangerous plays, safe plays. Then they had to bring Joe Girardi in here to teach him to slide, all that kind of stuff. They really went outside the box with Sanchez, and Matt Cavanaugh was a big part of that. So I think that's important. Eric Craig says Cavanaugh needs to be at Zach's side on the sideline and put LaFleur in the box. What do you think of that, Jeremy? How do you feel? Because I have seen Cavanaugh on the sideline quite a bit with Zach, and I love to see it. But what do you think about Cavanaugh being the guy on the field, LaFleur being up in the box where he can survey the entire field? How do you look at that one?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, they know what they want to do and what they're doing. I think that we all kind of want to see it. Just to say on Cavanaugh's part, Sanchez, he went to 2 AFC championship games his rookie and sophomore year. I mean, and a lot of people say that was because of the team that was around him. Yeah, but you need a quarterback that doesn't blow it and fall apart and throw the games away. And I think that's what Cav has on his resume, and that's why you could defend the job that he did. I don't know LaFleur in the box. Like that became a popular thing to say. I don't know if it would make a difference or not. I don't know the exact reasoning of why he's down there. It's hard for me to judge that one because I don't know because it's not like they don't have anybody in the box that has, a radio that's not talking and telling them what they're seeing. It's not like they don't have the technology down on the sideline to look at those angles and those views. So I just don't know that it would make much of a difference. So that's, I'm much more concerned about getting Mims on the field, using Elijah Moore in the slot. Those are when the run game is working, stick to it and commit to it and, do what the offense is built to do and what the scheme was originally. Those are the things that I'm more concerned about and that I focus more on.
Yeah, and I would agree. Those are the important things, when we really look at it. At the same time, I think where that came from was LaFleur stated he's more comfortable in the box. So that's the whole thing. And then, I guess Saleh had a little meeting with the coaches and Zach said that he would be more comfortable if LaFleur was on the sideline. So that's kind of where it is. Again, I think we should be the ones telling Zach what he's, hey, this is the way it is here in the NFL. This is how it goes. At the same time, look, I don't know if LaFleur being in the box would necessarily change anything. The way I do see it is, hey, if somebody is more comfortable doing one thing over another, I say, why create hurdles? Why create them? Let's just, we have enough hurdles with all the rookies, all the first time, all the injuries, all this sort of stuff. Let's just, wherever we can have a comfort zone, let's install it. Like, that's how I see it. But I guess, look, we're going into our 6th game, 7th week of the season like this. So I think this is probably the way we're going to see it. But I wouldn't disagree. I think, I don't know. Me personally, I would just put him in the friggin' box, especially because we have Cavanaugh on the sideline. Bruce White checks in and says, culture change is not easy. We as fans have to change too. We have to stop connecting one staff to the last staff. I think that might be one of the most poignant comments I've seen in a long time, Bruce. That's one of the things that I think is most difficult for fans. It's like we can't help but see the same thing. It's like we hear it all the time. This looks like a Gase offense. People are connecting Joe Douglas with the previous GM's picks, like saying, look, Joe Douglas doesn't take care of his own. He got rid of Leonard Williams. He got rid of Jamal Adams. He got rid of Sam Darnold. He got rid of Darren Lee. Like, so all the guys, all of our first-round picks, except for Quinn and Williams, are gone over the past 5 years. And we can look at that like Joe Douglas is like our picks aren't making it, but it's not really what it is. I know it might sound like an excuse, but that's not it. Joe Douglas arrived here and said, why the hell am I going to pay Leonard Williams $20 million? He gets 5 sacks a year. I'm not doing it. You know what I mean? So he had that good year in 2020, but at the same time, that was more of the outlier than it was a new trend. So you really can't blame this GM, this coach, for our inadequacies and ineptitude of the previous regime. Do you agree, or do you have a different take on that?
No, I agree 100%. We have to stop making those connections right away. Game 1, people were saying same old Jets. It's like, look at it from the perspective of Robert Saleh and this coaching staff. Like, forget everything. Gase happened. He's gone.
He can't hurt us anymore.
Right. From their perspective, they came in and took over a team that had what? You had Becton. Okay, we have the left tackle to build around. Right. We have a wide receiver that, for whatever reason, they don't think fits their scheme, or he got sick, but that we as fans believed in. And we had a guy that half the Jet fans were split on in Bryce Hall. And I'll say that we were split on them because a lot of people said he's not good, and a lot of people say he was good. After that, and then you have Quinn and Williams. So you had a few pieces, but you had this team filled with holes. I mean, we were weak in every room. So this is their first year. They come in, they team with JD, and they say, okay, we have to start building up some of the rooms. I don't care how much cap space you have. I don't care how many picks you have. You're not going to do that in 1 year. I thought they did a good job in some of the rooms. I think they shocked us with the secondary and how we filled some of those positions with 5th-round picks. But it's year one. And everybody that's still left over from that team, and maybe that's why you see a lot of guys going and then letting a lot of guys walk, because they're trying to get rid of that feeling of it's okay to lose and that culture of losing. But let's judge their first 5 games on that. They took over a 2-14 team. They had their starting rookies because they had to literally tear down and rebuild a roster and put in a whole new system. And to sit there and expect to just be a competitive NFL team that's 3-2 at this point or something like that just feels like insanity to me. Let's just be patient. Let's look at it as a new beginning. My brother likes to say it's almost as if we're a new franchise, like an expansion team. Like, look at it from that perspective.
Yeah, that's an interesting way to look at it. But and look, I could not agree more. I mean, when you look at what Joe Douglas has done, I think we're not putting enough focus on what he had to do to get to a clean slate. We had guys like Tremaine Johnson, Darryl Roberts, Jamal Adams, all these talkers, and they weren't doing anything. Like, they don't produce wins. They don't affect the game. Like, when you look at Jamal Adams' year, he was an all-pro in 2019. His value was as high as it's ever going to be. He was a 2-time all-pro, had 6.5 sacks, almost broke the record for sacks from a safety. He had 6.5 sacks, but here's the truth of it. 5 of those 6.5 came in 2 games against the lowly Washington Redskins at the time and the New York Giants. Terrible offensive lines, rookie quarterbacks. So he basically feasted on a really shitty team. 5 of his 6.5 sacks came in 2 games. So he had 1.5 sacks in the remaining 14 games because he did miss one with injury. So he had 1.5 sacks in 14 games. Like, that's the truth of it. And then he was all this talking, wouldn't talk to Joe Douglas, and Adam Gase went to Chris Johnson. Joe Douglas knew he was going to trade him from that moment. Fuck this guy. You know what I mean? I'm not having it. This is not a winning attitude. We need more dogs. What about the guys next to you? You're going to throw them under the bus like that? So that's who Jamal Adams is. And Joe Douglas had to get rid of that stuff. Now, speaking of the new guys, Matthias Simon chimes in and he says, I hope Sherwood will step it up in place of Mosley. Now, here's an interesting thing. I actually have something queued up for you guys where Robert Saleh talks about Jamie Sherwood. And I want to play that for you guys real quick. And then we can talk about Jamie Sherwood and maybe the defense a little bit. So here we go. All right. What do you guys think of this?
We're really excited about Jamie, and he's a rookie, so maybe what he doesn't lack in experience, he makes up for with smarts, mental quickness, just an understanding of football, and he's going to have rookie moments. But the more he plays, the better he's going to get, obviously. And he's one of the guys that I think is going to be a staple here for a while. He's very talented. He studies his butt off. And he is one of the for his size right now, and he'll get bigger when he gets an NFL offseason and meal plan. But his ability to uncoil and tackle people is one of the best in the draft, and so he doesn't give up very many leaky yards. He belongs. Let's just say that, and he's only going to get better.
So he says he has his ability to uncoil and make the tackle was one of the best in the entire draft. He's small because he needs an NFL offseason and meal program. But that's what we're looking at. So he's trying to get him his experience now when they already know he's not where we want him to be, but they'd rather him get all the kinks out right now. So knowing that they're taking projects on like that, Brandon Eccles, Michael Carter II, Javelin Guidry, Bryce Huff, Jamie and Sherwood, knowing that they're not where we need them to be, but they're trying to get them their experience now while it doesn't mean anything, while they're just kind of, they're still in install. So I think that was really interesting to hear, like that perspective, like that he's not where we even want him to be. He's still small. We haven't even fed this guy yet. And we, but we're hoping that he's going to be here for the long haul. So they're taking that long, hard approach. They don't have somebody in front of him. Maybe they would if Jared Davis was around, but where they are right now, they didn't panic and go out and grab a vet linebacker to keep him on the sideline. They'd rather him get exposed now because they think the experience is worth it. Well, how did you hear that? What do you think of Jamie and Sherwood? What do you think of the rookies? And what did you think of his comments there?
Well, if there's one area that I trust Salah, and that I take his word very seriously, and I believe that he knows exactly what he's talking about, is with defensive players and coaching up young players and recognizing talent and what their potential is, because he proved it. He's done it in his career. We talk about the 49ers. People forget. Like I have a friend that's in Jacksonville, a big fan of it there, and he says Salah was the man. That's when we were good. That's when we made our run and almost beat New England, and like we had a big future ahead of us. The guy is a great coach, like proven in defense and this exact thing. And it was so exciting because he was talking about, like, also later on, he goes on to talk about body frame and body size. And he talked about Fred Warner from San Francisco. I don't know if I said his name 100% right.
Yeah.
And he was talking about how his first year, he said, go back and look at his body type and look at Sherwood. He goes, I'm not saying that's who he is, but then he threw in a yet, which was really great. He goes, I'm not saying I'm not saying that, not comparing him to him or saying he's there yet. So I think he's seeing, and he doesn't have to exactly be as good as Fred to be an amazing steal in the draft, right? He doesn't have to be that good. It'd be great if he ended up being that good. But it made me feel great for Salah to go and just say that and put that out there and start talking about him in that way. Not just, he's going to be okay and just a fill-in until we find or sign somebody, but believe that he's going to be a staple for the team, because he used the word staple, for the team moving forward.
Right.
That means he believes that Sherwood's going to be a very, very good player. And that's really, really exciting.
My wife just brought that in, so I'm going to put it there. But yeah, and I think that's a really right, man. Like, that's a great comparison. But like when we look at what they're doing right now, like who was it in here? Eric, I think it was Eric. Maybe hold on. I lost the comment. But anyway, he was talking about like the tear down itself, like having to get rid of just terrible contracts. We're still paying Tremaine Johnson and Quincy Enunwa and Le'Veon Bell and all that. We're still paying these guys. So to be able to get past that, to get to a clean slate and bring in all these young guys that they are taking it upon themselves to build. Like, they like their aptitude, they like their potential, they like their athleticism, they like their mindset, their makeup. And they're like, hey, just give them to us. We will develop them. We will build them. You have to have respect with that, man, rather than every year just spending our dollars. Like, our draft picks are useless and we spend millions of dollars trying to bring in guys who other teams develop because we don't have that here. This flip is going to take a long time. And Jamie and Sherwood is one of the guys I'm most excited about. And I'll be real honest, he was not a guy that I wanted to grab there. I was all over the tight ends. And as far as linebackers, I wanted Derek Barnes. I wanted Jabril Cox. I wanted some of those guys who were slipping. But when you look at why it is that they grabbed the guys that they grabbed, they're not prima donnas. They're not loudmouths. They're hard workers, very, very football smart. And they're taking it upon themselves to be the development program. I couldn't have more respect for that. Now, Joe Conti checks in and says something really, really appropriate, I think. He said, no, don't forget, this is Joe the comic. He says, us Jets fans are like guys who had every girlfriend we ever had cheat on him. We now have a new girlfriend and we jump to jealous conclusions constantly because we are somewhat broken as fans. I think that's a great way to say it, man. Right. It's like we're poisoning and damaging any potential that the new girlfriend brings because we think she's the old girlfriend. I know what you're up to. She's like, I'm not up to anything. I was at the store. I was buying you some chocolates. And you're like, no, you're meeting somebody in the chocolate store. I know how this story goes. And then you ruin it. And then you taint any potential that you have moving forward. And that's one of the things I'm scared of. Like after week 1, there was all these fans. There were all these Jets fans that went to Zach Wilson's Twitter and fucking ripped him apart. Like what? Or after the Patriots game, you suck. And like, dude, like that's the kind of stuff that I hope that we as a fan base can cool down with, because it's one thing to send out a boo in the stadium. It's another entirely to send people personal messages about how bad they suck and how we know they're a bust. And I look, we can ruin stuff, man, as a fan base. We have to know that we have that potential with today's social media. And I hope that we don't do that. That would be really disheartening if somebody's like, I can't wait to get out of here. These fans are the worst. You know what I mean? It's like Philly. Everybody wants to leave Philly because they're the worst. They throw batteries at you and everything else. So, and Brian Goldstein checks in and he says, look how long it took Derrick Henry to become a top player. Right. Don't forget his first year, he had 490 yards. He wasn't Derrick Henry. Everybody, I mean, if he was a Jets fan, there would be a nice contingent of Jets fans calling him a jag. 490 yards, a big fat guy. Who cares? He's never going to be a good running back. But we have to give guys time. We have to allow this to work. And I think Jamie and Sherwood and what we're seeing on the defense is a really good example of that, man. I think it's really interesting to finally have a regime that wants to take it upon themselves to develop the guys. We got rid of Blesson Austin. Why? Because he's not the guy we want to develop. Sure, he's probably better than maybe Echols right out of the gate, but he doesn't have the long-term benefit that Echols has or Michael Carter has. And we would rather work with those guys, take the lumps with them, than hold on to Blesson Austin while we work on this guy behind the scenes. We want to put all the focus on the guys that we want. And I respect that, man. Do you agree?
Yeah, I think it's a very funny but very real analogy, right? That's what trauma is, right? Yeah. We both work with people with trauma. I mean, that's something we both have a lot of experience in, and a lot of that is it's about trust. It's about already having a perception of people and a bias towards people right from the start before anything even happens because of your past experience. I mean, that's the definition of it. And that's a really funny, great analogy of it. And some people are talking about growth. They want to see growth. I just want to point out, we talk about how we need to start games better. We can't win games if we start games like this. Okay, that's the negative view. Let's look at a more optimistic view. Okay, and an optimistic view would be, in most of the games, we're a much better half-second team, right? We play much better in the second half. Well, what does that mean? Why is that we play better in the second half? Is it the coaching and the adjustments that they're making? Are they showing that they already have some NFL talent and ability as coaches and experience that's coming into play because they're able to make adjustments that make us a better, more competitive team in the second half? Does it have to do with the fact that we have so many young first, second-year players out there that are taking time to settle in? Because these are all things that you can build on, right? This is not a definition of who we are. If the young guys are having trouble settling into the game, that's something that's going to go away with experience. And I agree with the chat that we want to see growth during the year. We want to see them open up games stronger, but it's understandable. But from a positive perspective, we have seen halves of football when it's clicking of what we could be. And there's no reason to sit there and just automatically say that that's not what we eventually will become. Like seeing that quality football, 60 minutes a game every week.
Yeah. And I think, right, man, I perfectly said. And I think like Steven is saying here, what's up, Steve? It's good to see you, buddy. He says, I know we can forgive the lost year, but I think we just want to see something from the staff in terms of improvement. And that is the perfect point. Like I said, I think a lot of this would be cooled down if we just came out, like maybe in the first quarter, scored some points. You know what I mean? Like we were able to just look competent, maybe overwhelmed or overmatched, but competent. Like we could move the ball, get 3 or 4 first downs in a drive, and rather than up and 3, down and 3, defense on the field, up and 3, down and 3, defense on the field. I think that's where it starts to wear fans down. And if we can just see something in terms of improvement, I think that a lot of Jets fans will be able to cool down. And hopefully that's what we're going to see this week, beginning this week. We have a nice stretch of games. We have obviously New England coming up this week. We have the home game against the Cincinnati Bengals, the Halloween game. They're looking really good. So, I mean, we got some tough games. I mean, the truth is we could be 1-6 real quick. In the next 10 minutes, boom, we're 1-6. That can happen. And again, as long as we see some improvement, like let's say we lose the game by a field goal and it's a great game. I think as frustrating as that is and heartbreaking as that is, I think as we go into the week, it'll still be easier to swallow than 4 interceptions, 26-3. You know what I mean? Like that's bullshit. And I totally get it. I really do.
Yeah. If we would have lost that Tennessee game in overtime, or it would have ended up a draw. At that moment, I would have been frustrated and pissed. And I was like banging things. I was like, my parents, my family was saying, calm down. But in the back of my mind, I was saying, like, I'd breathe and I'd say, at least no matter what happens, we were competitive. You know what I mean? Because there was a difference. So it's like, yeah, I agree. I think that if we lost by a field goal, we'll be really angry at that moment of the things that could have been. But I think by the time Monday comes around, we'll be sitting there and saying, hey, man, we were competitive this time.
Right.
And there was growth and we'll be happy.
Yeah. And I think a lot of us, that's really all we're asking. It really is. I mean, of course, we'd like to win. But we're really just looking for a competitive, like Steven is saying here. And I think that would go a long way. Phil Adams, again, the source of that banner you see behind Jeremey right now is one Phil Adams that you see right here in the chat. And we're so grateful for him and his gifts and his input throughout these past couple weeks with, the Jets going to London and everything else. Phil has been nothing short of a godsend as far as content and input, and obviously the banners and the pins right here. He sent these pins to my kids. Was upside down? Yeah. The pins for my kids. I love it, man. I'm so touched. But Phil Adams says, ask not what the Jets can do for you. Ask what you can do for your Jets. And I think that's a good way to do it. We got to be supportive. We got to try. We got to try and overcome the inclination to jump to the negative, like Joe Conti said about our cheating girlfriends of our past. We have to give this girlfriend a chance. We got to let her, don't taint her with the previous lying girlfriends we've had. This is a good girl. She means it. She's sincere. She loves us. So let's see what we could do to put into the relationship as opposed to what can I get out of the relationship. Let's support them and tell Kenny Yeboah on Twitter that you believe in him. We're with you. I do that stuff. I send them all private messages. Very rarely do they write back to me, though. I sent Denzel Mims some stuff. Well, somebody wrote back. Who was it? Leon Washington wrote back to me. Bilal Powell's written back to me, but nobody beyond that. I'm grateful they did, but I would like Kenny Yeboah to write back. Damn it! If he knew, you know what I mean? If he knew how supportive I was of that guy.
See how educated our friends in the UK are. Like what like to know quotes. Do we? How many Americans pull out quotes like that and can convert it into a Jets quote like that?
Right. It's amazing. I mean, they know more about the United States than the United States citizens know about a lot of other stuff.
Right. He's quoting American presidents. Can you? I think the one thing I might be able to quote is the Prime Minister, Winston Churchill from the UK during World War II, his famous radio speech. But that might be the only thing I can pull a quote from.
Yeah, there's that Winston Churchill thing when the lady called him a drunk, and he said, "Well, you're ugly. I'll sober up in the morning, ma'am, and you'll still be ugly." So that's a good one. But did you see recently? I forget what university it was, but they asked these university students on a football team. They were in the locker room and they said, "What is George Washington famous for?" And they didn't know. Like,
I thought you were going to say. I thought you were going to say chopping down a cherry tree.
Yeah. There's that. A lot of people go right to that, which wasn't real, by the way.
Right.
So what else we got here? Let's see. Yeah, Hank, what's up, Hank? He says the next games can be great learning experiences. And look, man, if we could split one, like I would love to split with New England, split with Miami, maybe, even splitting with Buffalo. But if we could split those games, I'll be really happy, man. Like I really would, because we've been getting swept for years. We've just been getting stepped on all over this division. And that's kind of the first place in my opinion, you got to climb out of. It's like, let's be competitive in our division. Divisional games are supposed to be more competitive. One team's great, one team's bad. They're still supposed to play each other tough because they know each other so well. And that's what we got to get back to. For many years, we dominated Miami. And then it was like, all of a sudden it's like they own us, and I'm sick of it. I want to start seeing that stuff. It would be really great to go into New England and squeak out a victory. At bare minimum, let's lump them up a little bit and let them know that we were there, as opposed to making Mac Jones look like a superstar. I'm sick of it.
Yeah, and splitting with these teams, like especially Miami, is let's make it a real rivalry again, right? Not just getting beat up by and Miami losing to Jacksonville. They haven't looked good. They don't have a quarterback as of right now. We have to split with Miami. And it's going to be hard for us to control our listeners out there and our Jet family.
Yeah.
If we lose both games to Miami, man, it's going to be really hard to talk people off a cliff from that. I think obviously it'd be great if we could beat New England. I think Buffalo, we might have to be a little patient, and that might be something that happens next year. I don't know. I'm just being honest. Right now, they're a very, very good team. Me and Frank were talking about it. Top of the league. Look, it's you got to believe. I'm going to go in. I'm going to watch the game, and there's a reason I'm watching, and there's hope. But we can't go crazy and jump off a cliff if we get crushed by Buffalo. Right now they're just in a different place.
Yeah, and the most frustrating thing is Buffalo and the Jets pushed reset at the exact same time, right? So in the same draft, we both got a quarterback. In the same draft, like we had kind of new energy and our coaches were in there, and they were kind of newer. The whole regime was new, and we pushed reset at the same time. Now, let me ask you, identifying that this direction was maybe the wrong way to go, it wasn't going to lead us to where we want to go. Do you respect the Jets staff for stopping it right there and pushing reset now? Or would you rather just continue down that path, trying to keep up with players that might not be good enough to do it? Even though at the time you thought maybe we got the better end of the deal, having Darnold over Allen. But hey, it's one of those things. Again, I think I'm happy that we identified the issue. Joe Douglas said, look, clearly Sam Darnold isn't my guy. I don't want to commit to him. I have the second overall pick. Maybe if I had the 10th pick, maybe I don't get a quarterback, but I'm at number 2, the highest the Jets have been since 1998. That was the highest pick we've had since 98. I'm getting a quarterback. I'm pushing reset. I got a new coaching staff. I'm starting clean. I'm not doing this. And I respect that. And then, like one of the comments said, it might have been Gitmo Bob or Eric or I forget who it was, but they said, and look what Joe Douglas did. It's not that we just push reset, guys. He took those players that we chose not to move forward with and created an additional draft class worth of capital. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, 3 sixths. That's what he created out of those players. Like that's outstanding. And so not only did he just say, hey, we're not going to move forward this way, I'm going to give ourselves the benefits that I can right now by selling these guys off at top value. You know what I mean? Like, especially Jamal Adams. Like, selling Jamal Adams then was the best thing we could do. He was never going to have more value. Never. Clearly. Look at his last 2 years. He's not getting 2 firsts and a third now. Hell no. They'd be lucky to get a first for him. So I like what he's done. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Hey, look, the simple argument is the old Jets, if we were the same old Jets and we got the same new kind of GM, what would have happened, what you would have seen is we would have taken that $100 million in the cap, and we would have blown it on 3 superstar guys. We would have overpaid 2 or 3 guys. We would have paid any price to get them to play for us instead of going to a better situation. That's what we've done in the past. And has it worked? Did getting Le'Veon Bell work? Even when we won some games and we're a little bit relevant, like with Decker and Marshall, did it work though? Did it long-term make us a sustainable franchise? It doesn't work. Washington Redskins did it for years, right? For years, signing big name free agents and not building through the draft and doing it that way. And they fail and fail and fail. And then when you look at the teams that have done it, look, Seattle originally, when they went on their run and won, they were in 2 Super Bowls and won one of them, right? How did they build that team? Was it through free agency?
Right.
Not at all. But when they went out and traded all their draft capital and got Jamal Adams, what's their record? I mean, even before Russell Wilson got hurt, is it working out for them? It is. I am thrilled that we finally are taking the Pittsburgh Steeler, Kansas City Chief, like
Baltimore Ravens.
We're Baltimore Ravens, that we're finally taking the approach, and we finally have a GM who understands that you build through the draft, you build the core, and then guess what? If you have a bunch of elite players and you can win with what you've drafted and built, and they're taking up all your salary crap, then great, you built your winner, and there you are. And if you build this great core and they get really good really fast and you still have some money, then you could use that. That's when you could buy those kind of like decorations for the cake. You know what I mean?
Totally.
Where you can bring in some key players or whatever. So I am thrilled with what we're doing.
Yeah, I am too. And that was a good way to say it, man. Getting back to the Buffalo, Miami speak, everybody's kind of chiming in. Let's see. Mindy Adam checks in. Says, even if the team loses, if the coaches have a decent game plan that the players can execute, then it's a victory. Mindy goes on to say, but if the team isn't competitive after 2 weeks prep, the coaches should be one and done. Now, I think that might be a little bit extreme, but I'm with you, Mindy. I really think, like, we've had 2 weeks to prep for this game. We've already played them. We definitely need to be competitive in this game. Without question. If not, then we have to really look at some things about how they're doing it. I would really start looking to Saleh. Okay, buddy, what are you going to change? What are you going to start doing? Maybe sitting with LaFleur more and changing the mindset and everything. But I think we are going to be competitive, Mindy. That is what I think. Do you think we're going to be competitive quickly? I mean, you said you believe, you have hope. Realistically, what do you think is going to happen when we go in there first quarter? What do you see?
Well, I see. I actually, one of my wild takes is that the Jets will score a touchdown in the first quarter, because I think that I just have this feeling that we had the 2 weeks and that it's a focus now and they're going to figure it out. I do believe we're going to be competitive, because I believe we would have been competitive. But Zach just happened to have his bad game against New England. I mean, his worst of all the games, and not all on him. All 4 picks weren't on Zach, right? But everything fell apart on us really early against New England. And we really stayed in the game for a while in spite of it. It wasn't as the score doesn't tell the whole story. So if we don't have that fall apart, that breakdown, if Zach plays better, if we don't have the pass through Corey Davis's hands, if things like that don't happen, if we don't have the bad call right from the start of the game, like if you take away some things, I don't think it's very likely that those things are going to happen again necessarily, right? Because you don't see that every game. So yeah, I'm expecting to be competitive, because we would have been competitive the first game.
Interesting. And I feel the same way. You got guys chiming in. Eric Craig says, hey, I'm sorry, buddy, but we're not splitting with Buffalo. However, we can sweep Miami. So is that, I'll take that, Eric. I will. If we sweep Miami, I'm totally fine with getting swept by Buffalo this year. Again, they're on their 4th year of this rebuild. We've chosen to stop where we were going and press reset this year. So we're 3 years behind them. So I'm fine with it. I don't want it. I'm hoping for otherwise, but especially if you told me we could sweep Miami and get swept by Buffalo, I'd be just as happy, because I'm looking to split I'm looking to get 2 wins out of those games. Gitmo Bob chimes in and says, I've told you since they drafted him, Tua sucks. Squished the fist twice. So he's right in line with Eric and what he's saying. Yeah, I mean, that's the truth. Gitmo Bob's been saying that for a long time. He has been unwavering in his disdain for Tua Tagovailoa. I think it's interesting. I was unsure about him. Truth be told, I did like him, but I didn't know about the injury thing. I was like, wow, drafting him that high after that injury, that's not something I would do. I just don't do that. I'm tired of taking injured guys with the first 15 picks of a draft. I don't believe in it. I don't think you should do it. And it's burned us before. And but anyway, Tua does look a little bit erratic. He does.
Well, it's always concerning when your starting quarterback is out, but the impact of the play of your team isn't really impacted, right? Like if we play Miami and Tua is out, we're not really thinking of it much being any easier with their backup. With Brissett, right? I mean, it's like, that's always a bad position to be in when you're a second-year guy. He's supposed to be your future, and then if he gets hurt, you don't even feel it. And it was like, and not to keep bringing up and beating up a dead horse, but that was my big thing about last year about Darnold, right? When he was out and Flacco was there, and we had a decent backup. Some people will argue we played better and we were a better offense. And that was my whole point. Like, that's always a scary thing.
Yeah.
When you have a starting quarterback that gets hurt and it doesn't impact your team or their chances of winning a game, you have to scratch your head and think about that starting quarterback.
Right. I mean, the only saving grace there is the guy's clearly brand new and you're looking at a vet or whatever it is, something like that, like with Flacco or whatever. But yeah, you're right, man. It's like when you have a guy in his 3rd year and he looks like the offense is just anemic, then Flacco comes in, he throws for 300 yards. It's like, what was that? I was told the offensive line sucked and he had no weapons. Like, what was that? So it is interesting, and that's kind of what Miami's dealing with. So, and that brings us to this question by Martin Shilton, hanging out on the southern coast of France. Says, will the Finns go for Deshaun Watson? And then dovetailing with that, Frankie from Flatbush jumps in and says, if the Dolphins get Deshaun Watson, the AFC East could be bonkers for the next decade. So realistically, just quick answer. Do you think that the Dolphins are going to get Deshaun Watson? You think that's what they're doing?
I never trust rumors. I don't know if there's been any reliable source, but I think that with all the buzz and everything, there has to be something to it. So I think they're definitely trying. But I think it's a toss-up because I think that like Bridgewater's play of late, you should expect Denver to be in that sweepstakes, trying to get him too. So there's at least Denver trying to get him,
and the
I would
Eagles,
think.
And
Yeah, it wouldn't be shocker if the Eagles go for him. So I think there's definitely a chance that he's going to end up in Miami, but I don't think it's like a 90% thing. I think it's like a third. I think there are like 3 teams I think they're one of 3 teams in the end that are going to be in the real hunt, competing and offering. But I will say that Miami might have an advantage as far as draft capital.
Well, and they also have an advantage because don't forget Deshaun Watson, even though he's underneath a pretty heavy thumb as far as the legal shit and all that goes, the truth is that he has a no trade clause. So he has to okay any trade. And he's already said that he'd be willing to go to Miami. And from what I did hear, but I'm with you, I don't necessarily buy into rumors, but the rumor is that he kiboshed a trade to the Eagles. He didn't want to go there. So that's interesting. Now, would he want to go to Denver? I don't know. You know what I mean? So that could be where some of this difficulty comes in because I'm really looking for the Eagles to be the team. Second would be Denver. Miami would be my last choice for obvious reasons. But even if he goes there, like, look, dude, I'm not convinced. Like, I've been watching Miami's drafts since Flores has been there. And I'm telling you, I scratch my head constantly with what they're doing. So, I mean, all the trades and shit, they've done a really good job, like acquiring capital. And then in my opinion, they've made some poor moves with that capital. Like, don't tell me they were going for a Waddle with last year's trade. I don't buy it. I think they wanted Pitts or Jamar Chase. They were the higher tier. Waddle has been injured throughout his whole college career. They took Waddle, who's a great player, but I don't think that's the guy they were shooting for. And that was a misstep by them, taking Austin Jackson with their first pick. I was like, that's not the tackle I would have taken there. So anyway, granted, who the fuck am I, right? Pardon my French. Who am I really? But I'm just saying, I'm not blown away by how they've chosen to utilize the capital that they've done a good job acquiring. Like even the year they had a fire sale, and then they go ahead and win 6 games at the end of the year. Like what I don't know. Just commit to the losing and get the high pick. Now you got to trade up for picks. Like, I don't know. It's just silly to me. So I don't know. Deshaun Watson obviously raises the level of any team he goes to, no question. At the same time, I don't think it's the greatest infrastructure there. I think Deshaun Watson will be working for his a second coach in the next 2 or 3 years. That's how I see it. So anyway, I don't think it's I don't think it's an end all. Like, all right, Miami's the king of the roost. I don't necessarily see that.
But meanwhile, the chat is and Phil Adams especially is like basically booking Aunt Gina for you for a show.
Oh, is Aunt Gina here? So I wanted to bring this up too. John Holton checks in, and before I get to his comment, I want to remind everybody, he told us a couple of weeks ago that he was going in for heart surgery. John Holton has had a successful heart surgery, is now on the mend, and he's doing well as far as we can tell. It's still fresh, but any prayers, any well wishes, don't forget to reach out to our boy. He's one of the originals as far as this channel is concerned. He's been here since the beginning. I consider him a friend, and I've been praying and I've been trying to just be available. So let's keep our well wishes going for Mr. John Holton, affectionately known as just simply Holton. That's what we call him. So any well wishes, any prayers, you want to reach out, check in on him. He's also on Instagram as well. Don't forget to remember our boy. And his comment is interesting. It says, when it comes to winning or losing, I really do not care. We all knew this year would be a wash. We are not winning the Super Bowl, so making the playoffs is meaningless. Let's build long-term this way. And I think that's what we were kind of talking about, John. I mean, I think we're in agreement with you. Like Jeremey just said it perfectly. He said, I'm thrilled that we finally have a general manager that has put the big name spending on hold, has quite the opposite, and pushed away all of our big names, sold them, traded them for the max benefit that he can get so he can build even faster and more solidly through the draft. Look at this year, man. 2 firsts, 2 seconds, a third, 2 fourths, 2 fifths, and a sixth. That's incredible, man. And if we sell, I keep using the word sell. I don't mean to use that, but I look at the word I hear in my head is fire sale. So if we are able to trade May or even Crowder or whatever for another third, that'll be 2 firsts, 2 thirds, 2 seconds, 2 thirds, 2 fourths, that's incredible. 2 picks in each round. So I think that I'm with Holton. Now, I think just like Mindy was saying and some others, we do just want to see competitive. We do want to see them be able to not look like an embarrassment. Want to be able to get some first downs, get some points in the first half, that sort of thing. But I'm with Holton, man, and I think you are too. Anything you want to say to Holton or anything?
No, I agree with them 100%. I mean, I do want to get like 5 or 6 wins. Not that that's more important. I mean, being competitive, and the way we're building the team is way higher in priority. I just want it for a step forward, for some confidence, the change of culture, just to know what winning feels like. So I'd like to see it for those reasons. Also, I don't want next year to be the year that we go for 6 wins or 7 wins. I want this to be the year that we step up to 5, 6, so we could be having conversations about 8 or 9 next year. But no, I agree with them 100%. The priority is what we're doing. We're already doing the priority. We already, JD already proved it to me in the spring and got me happy and excited no matter what happens this year. Just when he started making the kind of signings he made, not overpaying people, finding key people that will play good roles, and just the character of the people he started to sign. And I think one day we'll look back, like Dallas looks back at the Herschel Walker trade in their history. One day we'll look back at that Jamal Adams trade. This is what I'm hoping. And we'll look back at it as the first move that really turned around the Jets' fortune and brought us to where we are when we're looking back 4 to 5 years from now.
Yeah, I feel the same way. I do want to take a moment and say hello to my Aunt Gina. The reason I'm a Jets fan, there's a growing chorus, Gene, for people asking for you to be a guest on here. So maybe we can do that soon. Maybe after a victory. What do you think, Gene? Maybe we'll get you in a good mood. You're always in a good mood, but we'll get you on here one of these days and we can introduce just how wonderful my aunt is and why I followed her into this fucking abyss of Jets fandom. You can see how attractive of a personality she has and why I went with her. But I'm okay. I'm grateful, Gene. I'm grateful. I'm not mad at you for getting me into this mess. But maybe one day we'll do that. I do want to point out something. Number one, hit the like button, guys. If you haven't gotten the opportunity to do so, it helps the algorithm. If you haven't subbed to the channel, now is the best time to do so. All you got to do is sub here to Greenbeanjetsfan. Go over to Full Time Coaster Tour on YouTube and sub there, and you are entered into my big end of the year contest that I have. I'm trying to wrap up my first year on YouTube with 5,000 subscribers. When I hit 5,000, I'm going to give a whole bunch of stuff away. Two winners will get a t-shirt of their choice from the greenbean.com. It's actually greenbeanjetsfan.com merch store. You can pick a t-shirt from there, and that'll be yours. And then one grand prize winner will also get to pick a t-shirt from greenbeanjetsfan.com's merch store. And you will get a Manscaped smooth something smooth package or something. Forgive me, but it's really good. Now, that's one of the shirts you can get. Jeremy is modeling it right now. The Ain't No Happenstance t-shirt collection. We have women's cuts. We got hoodies. We got all that sort of stuff. And I wanted to tell you something else, too. Here's something interesting. I'm going to share my screen with you right in the subject line of this video. In the what is that? Not the subject line, the description. We have a new sponsor here, and I'm going to show you what this does. It's a sports memorabilia company. This is the perfect time to do it. I'm going to show you this. Now, watch this link, what it takes you to here. I'm going to click this link right here, sports memorabilia. And this is where it takes us. Watch this. This is going to be cool. I got to share it again. Sorry, because I'm old. Here we go. But here's where it took us. So it took us to this page. All you do is click that link and it takes you to this page. Look at all this cool Jet shit. We got the entire Sack Exchange signed helmets. We have Sam Darnold. There's a lot of that stuff. LaDainian Tomlinson signed stuff. Joe Namath, Wayne Corbett, and Vinny Testaverde signed helmets. Look at this helmet over here. Can you guys see that? You guys see all that stuff? Yeah, there we go. So you see this stuff. So if you click on that link, you get free shipping over any order over $50. And it's the time of year where you're going to want to buy a lot of that sort of stuff. Any Jets fans in your roost that you want to buy presents for, this is the way to do it. It's an amazing company. They are sponsoring the channel, and I couldn't be more grateful. So just click that link. Free shipping over any orders over 50. And again, it's not just Jets stuff, but the link will take you to the Jets homepage on that memorabilia store, and any support there would be appreciated. The link does help Green Bean. So there you go. Guys, we are going to start wrapping it up, but I do want to tell you that Aunt Gina says she would love to come on. So maybe soon I'll introduce you guys to Aunt Gina. What do you guys think of that, Jeremy? How do you think that'll go?
I'm excited. I'm super excited to meet her. I think it's going to be great. It's going to be exciting. I think everybody is really into it. I think you should definitely give warning. Definitely talk about it when, let everybody know when, because I think a lot of people will be upset if they miss it, and a lot of people want to say hello to her and react to her live.
Yeah, she's the coolest. She scraped up a little 10-year-old boy and brought him to the ground round in Belleville, New Jersey, and we watched that damn mud bowl. And I was a Jets fan ever since. I didn't like that the Jets lost like that. I was pissed. Because I started watching some games. It was Mark Gastineau that got me into the Jets after she told me to watch. I'm like, look at that guy. He's incredible. Oh, I love him. Big, strong, long hair, jumping around like a maniac. Everybody hates him. I love it. So, but that's going to just about wrap it up for today's show. Again, please don't forget to hit the like button. If you haven't subscribed, there's no better time than now. Don't forget to subscribe at Full Time Coaster Tour as well. When you do that, you are entered into the contest. If you want an additional entry, go over to Green Bean the Jets fan on Instagram and follow me there. Now, in addition to that, I want to tell you guys right after this live stream, I'm taking my family and heading to Busch Gardens, Williamsburg. I'm going to be doing a live stream later today from Full-Time Coaster Tour on YouTube. And we're going to check out all the haunts and everything live from Busch Gardens on Full-Time Coaster Tour this evening. So I hope you guys will join me there as well. So Jeremy, anything you want to say wrapping this one up?
Yeah, I'm excited to watch that stream tonight. I'm really excited. I love what you do with your family and the amusement parks. So I suggest it for everyone. I mean, people think, what are roller coasters? You got to watch these videos. You got to go to that site. I went and I was like, and I like roller coasters, but I was like, okay, what is this? I'll do it because I love GreenBean, right? It's like doing the favor and sub. He works so hard for all of us. And then I started watching the videos, and it's really professional, and it's amazing. This is not Fuzzy Bean like here, like we laugh and we make jokes, but the videos that come out on are amazing. Your narration is really amazing. It's like very professional. And I'm surprised these amusement parks don't want to use it to promote their amusement parks because it's that good.
Yeah.
And the work that you put into it, because you show different angles of the roller coaster and the way you mix and edit it, that you're on the roller coaster and then you see it from the perspective of, I don't know, maybe Mama Bean is filming it because I'm guessing that you use her, or you're doing it at a different time. So you see all the different angles of the roller coaster. And even if you're not the biggest fan of them, it's still really fascinating and it's really fun to watch. And it's also fun to see you in that light. As like a professional narrator talking about it. And I always make jokes about the food. Like if I see a food place in the background in the comments, we always have fun where I'm saying, did you grab anything from that burger shack?
Yeah. Right.
But hey, I promoted it last night on Frankie's show. I don't do it enough. You know, me and my wife wrote a book. It's called In Sickness and in Health. If you go to Amazon and just search my name, Jeremy Cravat, it's a cheap Kindle buy, really cheap on Kindle if you do Kindle. Even the hard copy is not that much. And we sold 2,000 copies. It's very highly reviewed on Goodreads. I want to push that more now that if people want to know more about me, it really tells the story of my marriage, and it gives really big insight into me and my wife and who we are as people and what we've went through and what we've survived.
That's incredible, man. I didn't even know that about you. I'm learning that right now. So I'll find that book and put it in the description of this video when we're done. I also have the information to find him at Frankie from Flatbush's channel as well. Don't forget to sub to those guys over there. Great content. Well, thank you, Jeremy. I agree. The Full-Time Coaster Tour stuff is fun. Look, the Jets I love the Jets. I'm totally in, but the roller coasters is like a little side love of mine. I've been wanting to do this my whole life. It's why I'm in an RV. It's why we sold everything to try to get on every roller coaster in the country. And today that continues with heading to Busch Gardens. So I appreciate your support for the channel. Anything else you guys can do, I think you'll like it over there. Go ahead and check it out. Don't forget to sub because you're entered into the contest. When I get to 5,000 subscribers, we will give all that shit away. Stickers, shirts, packs, all kinds of stuff. So, but with that, guys, I want to thank you for being here. Phil Adams, again, thank you for the banner that is behind Jeremy. He sent us each one. I love it. I got mine last night. Thank you, Phil, and thank you for the buttons. Thanks to everybody for being here. Thank you, Aunt Gina, for popping in. Love you. And Holton, speedy recovery, my friend. Wishing you well. And everybody have a great Saturday. We will see you next time. And they're getting on us for booing Zach Wilson after his third pick, whatever it was. Dude, screw you. Okay? We'll do what we want to do. Number one. Number two, he needs to know we're not okay with it. If his skin is so thin that he can't deal with that, then we have bigger problems. And we're all supporting Zach Wilson. You want to check out how we were? Listen to when his name was called when he ran into the stadium. It was by far the loudest. It was loud. We told him, we're with you. We love you. We got you. We want you here. We're rooting for you. 3 picks later, dude, we're not happy with you. I'm sorry.
violent vertical edge setter.
We can